Greetings, folks. Day 24 of the two-legged donkey derby race to the Áras and Niall's day out in the High Court tomorrow update, along with the state of the nation. Well, folks, it's all go again. We're on day 24 of the two-legged donkey derby race to the Áras, and what a race it's become. Catherine Connolly's galloping ahead on one leg and a sermon. Heather Humphreys, meanwhile, is trotting behind her with a charity bucket. And poor Big Jim Gavin's campaign is still wandering around the paddock, wondering what happened and where did it all go wrong. According to the latest IPOS Irish Times poll, Connolly's on 38%, Heather's on 20%, and half the country says they don't feel represented, which is the most honest thing I've actually heard, folks, in months. And the other half are still trying to figure out whether Erigi is a yoga class or an armed movement. And get this, folks, 6% of you voters plan to spoil their ballots next week. And if that happens, that'll go down in history as the highest recorded number of spoiled votes in Irish history. But folks, you know you've reached peak madness when people would rather spoil their vote than pick from the donkey derby lineup. It's political equivalent of walking into a pub, looking around and deciding, sure, you'll be better off going home sober. Meanwhile, Catherine Connolly's out now explaining how she's self-funded and told you, the Irish taxpayers, lies on media, that her Syrian sightseeing trip in 2018 was self-funded by her, when the dog in the street knows that it was you, the Irish taxpayer, that funded it. Sure, if that's what Catherine Connolly counts as self-funded, I'll tell Revenue my tax is paid from my own wallet and see how that goes down with them in Tralee. Then, when TikTok's own Lady Avril asked a few straight questions to Catherine Connolly when she visited Newbridge yesterday, Catherine Connolly froze mid-sentence like a bad Zoom call, buffering, no signal and no answers, and couldn't get away half fast enough. So much for free speech. She's doing the same now to TikTok's Lady Avril, one of Ireland's most prominent TikTokers, as what she did to Elijah Burke in Galway. And as for Helen McEntee, she's now after seeking Catherine Connolly to publish the emails about the woman with a firearm conviction who she signed into Leinster House. And Catherine Connolly says she didn't ask because RG is a registered political party. Well, that's all grand so, Catherine Connolly. Next, we'll be hiring the Healy Rays to run the air cops. Meanwhile, poor Heather Humphreys is caught up in her own charity nightmare saga. She admits that she went to an event now being investigated by the Gardaí, but insists there was absolutely no wrongdoing by anyone who attended. Of course not, Heather. The money just evaporated into good faith. That's Ireland for you folks, the only country where the cash disappears, but everyone swears they're innocent, and the investigation ends with a cup of tea and sympathy. But while the media are busy polishing Catherine Connolly's halo, a new column from William Stevens in Comment Ireland says Catherine Connolly's election will be a necessary crisis. Jesus, that's like saying a car crash is a useful reminder to check your tyres. He reckons she's taken the presidency where no president has gone before, and possibly straight off a cliff. He's not wrong though. After years of the office turning into harmless ribbon cutting to full-blown soapboxing, Connolly will be the final act in the pantomime presidency. Every decent politician that steps inside the Áras comes out looking like they've wrestled with their conscience and lost. He's right though, folks, about one thing. This presidency has turned into power without responsibility. Once upon a time, the president was meant to smile, shake hands and stay out of trouble. Now it's a full-time influencer gig for people who can't stop talking about themselves. Still, if Catherine wants to start World War III with Germany by comparing them to the 1930s, I suppose at least she's saving us from the airfare to Brussels. The diplomatic row will come straight to our doorstep. But folks, the real battle is tomorrow with Niall Byrne in the High Court. And then if this chaos is needed, one man is walking into the High Court tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Sharp, Niall Byrne, and he's taken on Fine Gael machine for trying to control who councillors can and can't nominate for president. It's supposed to be a democracy, not a talent show where Simon Harris holds the golden buzzer. What Niall James Burns is doing, he's not just doing it about himself. It's about fair play and the right for the people to choose their own president. If he wins, it could change everything. And when he walks into that courtroom in the High Court tomorrow, he won't be walking alone. He'll have every independent heart in Ireland within him. Because if there's one thing we know down here in Kerry, it's never underestimate a man with a big heart. That's the fella who'll move mountains while the others are still talking about them. Meanwhile, back in the real world, tragedy struck again in Dublin. A 17-year-old Ukrainian boy killed in a knife attack at a Tussler-run residence. Another teenager injured and a woman hospitalised. It's the same tired old story. The Gardaí investigating Tussler, reviewing, and politicians deeply saddened. They'll light candles, they'll issue statements, and they'll promise reform and bullshit until the next one. It's not good enough, folks. And if this wasn't grim enough, Paddy Powers is closing 28 shops with 119 jobs gone. When even the bookies can't make money in Ireland, you know the country's on the wrong horse. But we see the final lap. So here we are now, a nation divided between spoiled ballots, spoiled politicians and spoiled promises. But there's still hope and heart in the people who won't give up. So keep the prayers going, keep the rosary beads handy and keep the faith, because tomorrow might be just the day the tide turns when Niall James Burns takes on the Irish state and Simon Harris in the High Court at 12 o'clock. At this stage, it's less a presidential race and more a two-legged donkey derby, with the front runner hiring ex-gunmen or good women, the challenger defending charity nights, and the bookies going broke trying to keep up. But don't worry, folks, there's still time for a proper Kerry comeback. Gurav Mila Mahagas. And as we say at home, fair play to Niall James Burns. God bless the two-legged donkeys still running, and may Ireland soon be led by real people who can stand on their own 2 feet. And remember one thing, the wild geese are coming home, and we are taking our country back. Gura Mila Mahagav.